If the first game breaks, we'll get you to let up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, do the game, tap, this win it. First year again, we're here for the first May. Can everybody keep it up 6 minutes?
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Unbelievable place. Great university. Knoxville's unbelievable city. Great people. The passion for football is even greater than I thought it would be. And man, Neyland Stadium, I said it, a couple of years ago, and I still think it's the best football experience for a college football fan or a player in the country.
It's, here it's Tennessee, so, we're going to get the best guys here. That's just every year. Every time we're out there, it's competition. Nobody has a spot. Nobody's comfortable. We're all working to get better.
Just go win them all, man. I say that. Our team goal in general just win the East. So we're focused on that. But we're taking it week by week, one opponent at a time, and just being the best each week, each Saturday, being the best team on the field.
The culture that Hype and everyone has created in this building, it's been phenomenal on teams, and we're only going to continue to be better. And the standard around here, I've said it before, I'll say it again, standards to be the damn best. And we're never stopping.
Good Friday morning, and welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley, joined by the coaches. Man, I'm just going to show up and keep my mouth shut today. I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to let Coach Rice and Coach Jay talk this thing out. We're going to have some fun, man. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. The reason I'm chuckling, I'm still doing research as we go live. I'm trying to find the Tennessee football 2024 schedule. I'm sure I'll find it. I'm sure we'll get it dialed in. I'm sure Coach Rice will find his place at the table and get seated and comfortable. No, he left. Was that so offensive? Like, Coach, did I say anything that offensive to make him just shut down and leave?
You offended him, Boogie. He's very offended. Sorry. R.I.P. Coach Rice. R.I.P.
We tried to do one thing.
We
tried to have one special show on Friday morning to end the season, and Coach Rice ain't having it. Like, he's walking through his house, and I think he finally just said, "No, I'm done. I'm done." Oh, he's back. He's back.
There you go.
Maybe what it was is it wasn't a Friday morning show if you weren't at the top. See, Coach Rice took the top spot, and maybe that was the problem. He's still getting his things connected and dialed in. Guys, come on in, smash the thumbs up, hit that share button, let somebody know we're live. We would greatly appreciate it. This is maybe the last Friday morning show of the year. We're going to do the Monday morning show this next week with Kaner. He'll be in the house. I don't know, on-air business decisions. If you want to come on that Monday, Coach, you're more than welcome to come on. Or if not, I don't know. I think we're going to do a probably Jordan Seaton film breakdown on Wednesday. I don't think Coach Rice is connected. He's just down there clocking. But that's okay. We're going to kick things off, man. Everybody celebrated Thanksgiving yesterday. I hope you guys had great time with family. So let's kick it off with this.
Thanksgiving, hammer turkey. I like the ham at first, but then a couple days later I ate the turkey for leftovers.
I'm going turkey every day.
Turkey.
Ham.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go ham.
Turkey.
To Thanksgiving dinner, I'm bringing fried chicken with macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, now we're
All
talking.
right.
Smile and infectious energy. That's about it. Can't cook.
You know, I'm gonna bring some potato salad.
I am bringing myself.
For my turkey bowl team, with 3 coaches in my pocket. I'm gonna go with Coach Mack first, my guy. Coach Banks, I'm gonna go with Coach Banks second. I'm gonna bring Coach Walt, the GA, he a GA, but he a coach too. That's my dog.
Not a lot of height on that team.
No, not a lot of height.
Did I freeze?
We good though, we fine, we scrappy.
Why can we not have nice things? Can you hear me, Coach?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Why can we not
Okay.
have nice things
I don't
around
know.
here? What is
Spectrum.
happening
I
today?
blame it all on Spectrum.
This is a terrible start.
I
This
don't
is a terrible
even
start.
have Spectrum, but I'm still blaming Spectrum because I hate
I think that's
Spectrum.
fair. I think it's fair. James says Boogie froze. No, Boogie froze. This is a horrible start to Friday. Why can we not have nice things? You know what? You know what I think?
Vanderbilt.
Let's try this again.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air now. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming in the air now. We fell in love. You remember time. How could I ever forget? You remember time. We fell in love. You remember time. How could I ever forget? Coming in the air now.
Good Friday morning and welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley.
And I'm Coach J.
Something just feels right now. Something just feels right. Take 2. Let's do it again. Hey, man, we only get so many of these regular season games. We got another one coming up tomorrow. Tennessee, Vanderbilt going to kick off at 3:30. It is senior day in Neyland Stadium. A lot of kids on this football team, man, kind of been through the fire, been through the ringer, right? This is a team, they chose Tennessee. They chose to stick it out. They chose to ride with Josh Heupel when he came in. You know, one of my favorite things when he was hired was that he sat down and said, what do you need from me? He didn't come in and demand this, demand that. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. He came in and said, what do you need from me? That's how you lead. We're going to talk about Josh Heupel in the Josh Heupel era and kind of look at year three overall, just overall perspective about year three. But let's see what you guys are up to in the chat. We'll just go right through the super chats because this is a horrible start to the Friday show. Papa J drops a $6 super chat, says, let's go Big Orange. Let's go Vols. Let's take care of business on Saturday. John, how about that? Vol fan in the Air Force for 5, says Dorfy. GBO, appreciate that super chat. My man Scotty Hurley for 5, says go Vols. My goals for Vandy: get right his 1,000 yards, complete a couple of deep bombs for Joe, and let's get Nico in by halftime. Let's go Big Orange. Ron the Don for $10. That ain't cheap. Thank you, my man. Says Dorfy for the Boom Boom Room, and yes, let's go Vols. Good morning, Boogie and Coach Jay. It's a Vandy week, end of a great season with more to come. Nico. I mean, it wouldn't be a live stream with Coach Jay if we didn't talk about Nico. Do you think they're going to get him in the game early, or do you think it's going to have to be a blowout before Nico gets out there?
Oh, gosh, man. I guess I'm cynical, and I think Coach Hype's going to continue on the course he's been on. But, man, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he programs some time in early. I did listen to you and Kaner when I got up this morning, and I am kind of on that same Kaner boat. I would mix him in there early and often, and I would have some design series for him. But we'll see. We'll see what Coach Hype comes up with. I don't think there's any way they're not like starting Joe or something like that with it being senior day. But we'll see what happens.
Well, let's talk 2023 season. Obviously, didn't go the way we expected, didn't go the way we wanted. I understand putting perspective on it of winning 8 games and how many times they've done that since Philip Fulmer was fired. So satisfied, dissatisfied. But when you look at it, I think it's fair. You're in year 3. I think it's fair to start to be critical of Josh Heupel, right? I mean, we sit here and we say, oh, well, look at the rebuild, look at the roster, look at this, look at that. I think it's fair 3 years in to kind of start saying, all right, I question this, I question that. Any areas of criticism through 3 years of football with Heupel at Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a couple little things of criticism. I think, one thing that Hype is continuing to grow out is just his overall game management. I'm okay with things schematically, at least from the offense side of the ball. Certainly with the cards he's been dealt over the 3 years. But some clock management stuff, I think you can be critical of. And as far as being, happy, satisfied this year and stuff, I feel like we're still eating. I still feel like I got a turkey leg and some meat on the table and some mashed potatoes. But I feel like someone forgot to cook the gravy this year. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really delicious turkey. The mashed potatoes are good, buttery, but I'm reaching for that gravy boat, Boogie, and there's no gravy boat this year. And I guess that's maybe the best way I could sum it up on this post-Thanksgiving show.
I think we ate all the gravy a year
last
ago.
year. Yeah.
I think we ate all the gravy. Now we got to get
the gravy.
Yeah. Like we were putting it in little moose glasses, reindeer glasses, like Clark had. Like we're drinking gravy straight out of those. And now we're going, where's the gravy? And it's not there. But guess what? Help is on the way. And when you look ahead to 2024 and we talk about what needs to be different, like what needs to change, how much better is this football team going to be if you've got elite quarterback play, right? And obviously you believe in Nico. You have your reasons why. Some people in the chat doubt Nico. I think they're going to become believers real quick. Man, listening to VolQuest yesterday, their podcast, I don't know if you listened to it, and I should have wrote down the exact names because it was very interesting, and I didn't want to copy it and steal it, but it's worth mentioning. They did a draft. There was 4 of them on there. They did a snake draft, and they had 8 quarterbacks to choose from. Which quarterbacks would you draft in Heupel's offense? And it was Josh Dobbs. It was Hendon Hooker, Jonathan Crumpton, Eric Ainge, Jarrett Garantano, Tyler Bray, and then you had Nico in there as well. Like, what quarterbacks are you rolling with? And the interesting thing, JG went pretty early. Nico was drafted 3rd. Nico was drafted after Josh Dobbs and Hendon Hooker because the proof is already there, right? Those guys. Hendon Hooker did it in Josh Heupel's system. Josh Dobbs clearly would have been able to do it in Josh Heupel's system. But then to have the confidence, and it was AP that picked Nico, to have the confidence that I don't care about Tyler Bray, Jonathan Crumpton, Eric Ainge. I mean, those are some pretty good quarterbacks at Tennessee. Now, Crumpton, really Lane Kiffin kind of saved his time at Tennessee. But what are your thoughts on that? Like that tells me that it ain't just Coach Jay that has confidence in Nico. It's also a lot of other people that are around him.
Yeah. So kind of going back to this elite quarterback conversation, do you need an elite quarterback or whatever? And I kind of, stood on you need a competent quarterback and one who can make reads. But if you're just drafting the perfect quarterback for Heupel's system, and the proof will always be in the pudding and on the field, like we talk about on this channel. But Nico does ring up there really high for me, as does Dobbs. And the reason is because you have to be smart. You have to be able to read, routes, not so much the route trees. People always kind of mix up, are you reading the route tree correctly? Well, Coach Rice kind of touched on it the other day when we were breaking down a little film. It's more that you need to be reading the defense and what that wide receiver is going to do based off what the defense does during that route tree quickly and at a very, very high level and high speed. Like, right, it has to be right away, and all the pre-snap has to be right away. So you do need an elite, intelligent quarterback, an elite IQ quarterback. And what better quarterback than someone like a Josh Dobbs or someone like that, right? Because he's just extremely smart. You've heard me say it on this channel a couple times. Nico is a very, very smart young man. He graduated early in his junior year from high school. The kid is very, very smart, and it's one of the highest praises that I could give him. I think there's no coincidence in the fact that the smartest kid I've ever been around, really, really close, was Bryce, and he was extremely intelligent, and look what he went and did, right? So, coaches like Coach P have seen Nico a little more up close and personal than me, and they kind of echo that same sentiment that Nico is just extremely smart, and it kind of looks that way just based on what he did in high school from a GPA level, and just the kind of head he's got on his shoulders overall.
Coach Rice, let me dumb it down. I don't know how much of that you heard before you pop back in here. Let's just put it this way. If you could take any quarterback from the last 15 years, let's say any quarterback post Philip Fulmer, any quarterback you want to take that played at the University of Tennessee, that includes the current roster. So Nico is there. Give me your top 5 quarterbacks since Philip Fulmer. Well, I guess Ainge was a former guy. So let's go last 20 years. Give me your top 5 quarterbacks you would like to see in this offense.
In this offense. All right. Number 1, I'm going to start backwards. Number 5, I'm going to say, let's see, who would be? I'd say I'd say Jonathan Crompton would be number 5 because he was good outside the pocket. I thought, with a good coordinator and someone that was good offensively, drawing up stuff, I thought Jonathan Crompton had a really good year. Number 4, I would say Garantano. He would be my number 4 spot. Number 3, I'm going to say Hendon Hooker. Number 2, I'm going to say Josh Dobbs. Number 1, Nico.
Dude, well, I mean, like, what does that tell you in people's comments? And I get it. I saw Adam's comment saying that he doesn't doubt Nico. He doubts fans evaluating Nico. And it's like, it's not just fans, man. It's fans, it's coaches, it's people in the media, it's people that are around him on a regular basis. It's his high school coach. There's so many reasons. And I love that you threw JG in there because I was probably the biggest JG defender you could have up to a certain extent. He got a bad shake, man, in college, and I think if he had been in Heupel's offense, getting developed by Heupel, I think his career
all 4 years,
it would have been
4 years,
completely different than the way he went out. I see some of you guys mentioning Tyler Bray. He was a guy that was included in VolQuest podcast.
I did. I forgot about him.
I love me some Tyler Bray, man.
Good. He would have been real good in this system as well.
I just think JG's ability to run the football. He
can throw the deep ball
better.
real well.
Yeah. Let me hit a couple of super chats real quick. Scotty Hurley for 2 says, intro song gets me pumped. Love the channel, boys. Appreciate you, Scotty. Thank you for being here, brother. And I'm glad you liked it because I played it twice. That's how bad of a start we had to the Friday morning show. Hey, It's a Thanksgiving hangover. Don't you worry. We're going to move right on through that. Randy Harness for $10. I think the main reason we haven't seen Nico already is due to, I think Josh knows once he goes in and runs his offense, there won't be any turning back. GBO, cultivate. The only thing about that, though, when a lot of people have said that, I've kind of even hinted at it, like, are you hiding Nico from us so that you don't stir up more of a controversy? If you think Nico's that good, Coach Jay, why would you sit on him to avoid a controversy? Like people have said so many times, Nick Saban would play the freshman. If the freshman gives you the best chance to win, he's going to play the freshman. Like what does Joe Milton have on Coach Hype? But what are your thoughts on that question?
Well, let me just go back to a different section of that question really quick first, though. Nick Saban's been dealt a different hand, or not been dealt. He's played different hands and put himself into a position to have a better right to deal. So when he plays a freshman, he's got the infrastructure, he's got the depth around those players to gamble that hand a little bit better. You could maybe use the analogy that Heupel's hunting with less bullets than Coach Nick Saban is right now. So he needs to line up that shot a little better. You know, when he puts his best round in that magazine, he needs to make sure that round, the aim is true and that he hits what he's aiming at with that one round that he's got. And I kind of have started to think that maybe he thought, the defense is still a little green. Maybe he wanted to just sit on that hand a little longer. Maybe he wanted to let that deer get a little bit closer before he let that round fly out of the chamber.
I was going to say something, but I'm going to sit on it because I don't want to bury a connection. I meant to tell you guys this off air, and I forgot. Now, everybody in the chat hates me for keeping secrets, but I don't want to bury that certain connection I have. But I'll get your all's thoughts. I should have just kept my mouth shut, man. I'm making it worse as I continue to talk. Donovan for $5 says 2024 schedule: Chattanooga, NC State, Kent State, UTEP, Florida, at Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi State, Kentucky, at Oklahoma, at Arkansas, and then Vanderbilt. At Arkansas. Vanderbilt would be on the road, wouldn't it? Or is everything getting screwed up as far as home and away?
I don't know. NC State's on neutral territory, I know.
Yeah, but Vanderbilt's at home this week or this year, so it should be on the road. I don't know. Regardless, there's the 2024 opponents. I like seeing that. Appreciate that, Donovan. That's what I was trying to research right before we went live. Coach Rice, when you were getting reconnected, something I asked Coach Jay is, we're in year 3. I think it's fair to start criticizing Josh Heupel. Maybe some of his in-game decisions you don't like. What does he need to do different as we move ahead to 2024? We talked about quarterback play. I think you're going to get quarterback play. What else do you think Josh Heupel needs to do as we move into 2024 and you see that schedule right there? I think the possibility to continue momentum moving forward, bounce back, 9 wins, maybe 10 wins. I think Nico will determine a lot of that. But what do you think we need to see different in 2024?
Well, I want to see us get back to what we were doing last year. I mean, tempo, and then, throwing the ball over the middle of the field some, more. They've used it sparingly this year. I think, with the deep post and, the slants and deep digs and all that, that's stuff we saw a lot last year because we had that they trusted. They trusted that Hendon would make that read and him and the wide receivers would be on the same page. And that's what I want to see as far as offensively. Defensively, just better secondary play. I mean, and more consistent linebacker play. I know we're young, and I know that will grow into being better consistently. So there's kind of asterisk on that, but the secondary ain't got no excuses. You get your field with upperclassmen. So you want them to get better. You want the secondary to get better. Of course, a lot of that comes with pass rush. So all that plays hand in hand. And then better game management as far as just some of the decisions he's made. I like Coach Heupel. I think he's the perfect fit for our program. And I've loved several of the things he does. I like him being aggressive, going for it. I mean, that just shows faith in your offense. But with the offense we got this year, He lost. I mean, I don't blame him. I would have lost trust in it too. So getting back to being yourself, and that's Coach Heupel, being aggressive, high tempo, not afraid of the defense, no matter what they give you, and going out and scoring 40 plus a game. And I know a lot of that's going to come to how Nico plays next year, and he'll have some growing mistakes. I mean, everybody does. So us as Vol fans can't, he's going to be new to the field next year, but he's also going to, I'm going to tell you, he's going to show, give us some improvements from where we missed this year, as far as timely throws, being accurate all over the field. I just think he's a better fit for this offense than Joe Milton is. And then lastly, just not freezing up and doing some of these things that we've seen Josh Heupel do, especially the last few weeks. I think he's more, and you kind of touched on it, I think he's kind of shell-shocked right now because of how bad this offense is. I think he's so used to trust his offense going out and scoring points, moving up and down the field without any trouble. I think he's kind of shell-shocked, and that's why you see some of these decisions he's making. And because he didn't make these decisions in year 1 and year 2, So I think getting back to himself, getting back to the tempo, and trusting Nico to go out and be Nico.
Yeah. I think, Coach Rice, you think it kind of, compounds the problem that Milton's probably tearing up practice, and he sees it right in front of his face every week that Milton can do this. It's like, and I know, it's like when you're a coach and you see it every week like that, and it's you can touch it. You know what I mean? It's right in front of your damn face, and you just, we're going to keep working. And I'm telling you, we keep working, we keep pushing hard. Good things are going to happen. I promise you. And you feel like that as a coach. I've told teams like that, and I've been around teams where it does come on late in the year and you have a great run through the playoffs or something like that. But there are years where it just doesn't manifest as well. It can be tough.
It feels like we're trying to survive. It felt that way all year. We're trying to survive and get to 2024.
Well, and then like you, they said earlier in the season, Joe Milton went to the scout team defense and said, "We need y'all to step up and play us tougher, play us harder." And part of that is Joe Milton just going out and tearing up the scout team defense, and everything's looking great. And like you said, Coach Jay, it's hard to move off of that when in practice he's killing it. Like he's and it's easier to make those reads because he may not know exactly what the defense is giving him, but it's easier to tell in practice because you see it every day. But on come Saturdays, those defenses are throwing something different at you every play. I mean, it may be kind of the same base coverage, but they'll mix it up how they throw it at you, different ways they throw it at you. So that's the difference in what Joe Milton we're getting. And the thing is, I just totally think that Nico's a gamer. I think when he gets on that football field, there's a totally different view of what Joe Milton is on Saturdays than what Nico is on Saturdays.
The funny thing is talking about, seeing Joe doing it in practice, and it's like, man, he's a 6-year senior. Like, if he's not figured it out by now, he ain't going to figure it out. That's what's so frustrating. But then on the flip side of that, me and Kaner talked about this early in the year. Some NFL team's going to take a chance on Joe Milton. And in their mind, they're going to say, look at the arm, look at the size, look at the athleticism. We can fix him. You can't fix him. You're not going to be able to fix him. It's just he is who he is at this point. But I agree 1,000%, Coach Rice, with what you said about, being shell-shocked. I think Heupel he doesn't have that confidence, so he's just throwing darts at the dartboard, not the Joe Milton dartboard back here, a different dartboard. But it's like, we've seen in the middle eight, right, when you've got enough time. You had 15 seconds with Hendon Hooker last year against Alabama. And what do? Hey, we're going to go win the football game. And that's what they did. There have been times, I forget what game it was, right before half, when they ran the football and just let the clock run because he doesn't have that confidence. Something that really pissed me off about the Georgia game in the rewatch and breaking things down was how many times they had 3rd and 2. And they didn't run the football because it's like why would you be scared to run the football? That's what you live on. Run the football. Awful on 3rd down against Georgia. But you had plenty of 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s. Line up, run it, and go get it, man. You got a workhorse in Jalen Wright. I don't care about your rotation and your plans. When he runs 175 yards to start the game, guess what? He's getting the football the second series. We're going to run it right back down your throat. And they just didn't do that. So many frustrating things, but I think it comes back to
execution too, right? Though execution too,
Sure.
because if you remember the Bama game, there was a series where we were pinned far back, and we had I think a bubble screen, a squirrel that went like 2 yards short, and then we ran the ball again because we had numbers. We ran it to the top side of the screen. We had numbers, and I think it was Ramel Keaton just had to seal his man, and it probably would have been 6. And he didn't, and that kind of stuff sticks in your head as a coordinator as well.
Yeah. It adds to the shell shock we're talking about.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it's all factors here, right? It's a tough situation when you're not executing at a high level, I guess.
Yeah. And the lack, and like going off what you're saying, it is the lack of execution that is adding to that shell shock factor that Coach Hype was like, hey, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. We got the play that we could do, but is all 5 offensive linemen going to do exactly what they need to do? Is the tight end going to do exactly what they need to do? Is the 3 wide receivers going to do exactly what they need to do? Is the running back, the quarterback going to read the play right? It comes back, and Heupel says it all the time. It's all 11 guys on a single play, and if one of those 11 guys messes up, that could be the difference in a 20-yard game and a negative 3-yard game. And I mean, we see it, we preach it every day in practice. That's just the way it is. If all, especially the guys up front, they magnify it. If they're not doing what they need to do, that's when it craps the bed. So it's just it's a team thing, and I think that's part of the reason why Coach Heupel is just not being himself.
It's like the conversation about, is it Joe's fault? Is it Halsley's fault? Is it the wide receiver? It's all of it, right? I think that's what this conversation is all about. It's all of them. That's what's so infuriating about it. You see a wide receiver wide open, Joe doesn't let the ball go. You see Joe throw a dime and a wide receiver drops it. It's just, that's been the story for 2023. We've limped our way through it. We got one more game to get to 8-4 and then go play a bowl game. And then hopefully this fan base gets a fire back inside of them, because I feel like, myself included, I've been a dud this year, man. I'm like, God, this has not been fun. Last year was so much fun. The year before that, they only won 7 games. It was still fun. It was fun. We were scoring points. It was fun. Let me catch up on super chats. Timothy McGee is here. Drops a $2 super chat to say less option routes, more timing routes. I may turn that into a T-shirt just for Timothy. He drops another 2 and says, good morning, Boogie. He drops another 2 and says, make this offense multiple. I think Josh Heupel's always going to change and adapt, but he's never going multiple. It's going to be, the offense is going to be what it is. It's going to be a lot of shotgun, wide splits, and up tempo. That's what you're going to get.
That's what makes it successful.
Agreed.
Less option routes, Coach. Less option routes. Hank for $2 says, could you read my message from before the stream started? I would have to roll through hundreds of comments. Hank, just put it back in the chat now, and I will look for it and highlight it. Scotty Hurley for 5 says, I'll take any throw more than 5 yards down the field at this point. Nico can move in the pocket, manipulate it so well. We'll be the gamer that we need. Timothy McGee for 2 says, Joe is a practice player, not a gamer. I think that's spot on, 100%. But again, Josh Heupel should know that, right? Joe Milton, this is his 3rd season at Tennessee, 6-year senior. Josh Heupel should recognize that. So I don't know. I'm going to be so glad. God love Joe Milton's heart. I'll be so glad when he's gone and we don't have to talk about this anymore, because exhausting. We got 215 people hanging out. Appreciate you guys joining us on this Friday morning show. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be live an hour before kickoff for the tailgate show. Also, immediately following the game, I will also be dropping a video, game day video, early in the morning. Sunday, we're going to do the fan call-in show, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Monday morning, myself and Kaner will be live as always. Tuesday night, NCAA stream. Wednesday night, I'm not 100% on this yet, but I think we may do the Jordan Seaton live film breakdown next Wednesday. But just make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure that bell is clicked for notifications. Make sure you're following me all platforms of social media, because I always tweet out. I always post on Facebook, always post on Instagram to let you guys know when we are going live. Let's talk a little recruiting, shall we? Let's talk a little recruiting. This is your recruiting coverage moving into the offseason. Myself, Coach Jay, Coach Rice, we're going to be upping it. We're going to take it to another level. Been covering recruiting full-time for, I guess last year was really the first year full-time recruiting coverage. We're going to up that up. We're going to do more live streams. I'm going to still be dropping the videos all the time, so it'll be fun, man. If you've never looked into recruiting, now is the time. We got a bunch of guys in the class of 25 that Tennessee's in on. We'll talk about some of those. But first, let's take a look at the class of 2024. Tennessee's currently sitting at 11th. I had a lot of guys in town for the Georgia game. Coach Jay and I have talked about just about every guy on this list, pretty much all of them. Coach Rice, what do you think so far about what Josh Heupel's built in this 24 class? Who do you like? Who stands out? Who's maybe a guy you think could slide under the radar, be a little underrated?
Well, the class overall, I think, is a great class. I think it meets a lot of the needs that we need as far as going forward. I want us to add, a couple more, but start off. You got Mike Matthew, who I think is going to be a stud. I think he's going to be a beast there. The second spot, the great edge group we got. And of course, he could play some, Tyler Barron / roll too. I think he will grow into that size, but I think he's a beast. Boo Carter, y'all, we've seen film on it. That dude is a player, straight up player. He's a dude that when you get in that locker room, you find any way to do anything with it. Like, he's just one of those guys that he's going to be around the ball. Even if he's on defense, he's going to be around the ball. The offensive line group we got in this class, Bennett Warren, Max Anderson, William Sauer-White, and Gage Ginther. I think they're going to be this class. And then if you add Jordan Seaton, of course, which would be massive, this class is the –
Is he on that West Coast internet or that Spectrum?
Yeah,
he's why do we all have horrible internet?
I don't know.
Why am I going out?
You're back.
You were
now.
For a second there. Right after Gage Ginther, you went out for a second.
Oh, sorry. Well,
right.
What I was going, this offensive line class, I think, will be the class that changes the way Tennessee is thought about as far as you being that mauling class, that mauling team that just with the way we space out and create running lanes. William Satterwhite is a future center at Tennessee. I think Max Anderson, Bennett Warren, Jordan Seaton. Those are guys that, especially Jordan Seaton and Bennett Warren, if you have them two at tackle, that these teams are going to be scared to face us as far as our physicality goes, because those are two dogs in the offensive line. And, you got other guys in this class like Beasley, who is a great corner, who I think will be a shutdown guy who will shut down half the field. And I'm hoping that with these young guys like Ricky Gibson that we got already, Jordan Matthews and Caleb Beasley, that we start to be more physical at the line of scrimmage and throwing guys off their routes, throwing the timing off in the offense. That's what I'm so looking forward to with these guys, because they're big, they're physical, they want to be in the if you had asked them, I guarantee you they'd be in the box if they wanted to, because they're just so physical. All these guys are great at tackling, I think, as far as the film I've seen on them. they are very, very physical. So this class all together, I want us to add like a Jordan Seaton, a Kai Bates, some maybe a flip or two, like Amarius Williams, who if we can make it to the December official visit, there's a couple other guys that I leave in my head, but they're this class could be top notch. We have to add Jordan Seaton for us to get back up to the top 5 range. I think that's the only option that we have to get back up to there. But if we can get into the top 10, make it maybe 8 or 9, I really like this class. I mean, I like it in general right now anyways, but I think if we add a couple more guys, we'll be set for the future without a doubt.
Let me hit a couple super chats real quick. Timothy McGee, been a member for 2 months. Appreciate that support, brother. Guys, consider hitting that join button down below. You guys would give me the opportunity to jump on here and talk Tennessee football every day. I'm grateful for that. Ron the Don 5 this year was like hot kissing your new girlfriend in high school under the bleachers and the 4th period bell rings. Almost. It sucks. Thank you, Ron the Don, for the super chat. Coach A, I gave Coach Rice the easy one. I let him talk about all the studs, all the guys he loves in this class. Now I'm going to give you the hard question. Who do they need to close on? Obviously, Coach Rice mentioned Jordan Seaton, but what do you think the position of needs are? And we can kind of bleed this into transfer portal talk too. They got some holes they need to fill. What do you think? How do they need to close this thing in 2024?
Definitely the tight end kid, right? The Samoan kid, or I don't know, the Tongan or Samoan or Hawaiian, whatever is like Polynesian last name. Saliapaga. There you go. That would be a good one to get. I know the old recruiting prediction machine doesn't fancy our chances very well right now, but I believe he's teammates, right, with Merklinger. He had that kind of awesome clip where he lost the bet with Jake and had to wear a Tennessee jersey. Is that same?
No, that's Michael Smith.
Also, a tight end commit that Tennessee is in on, though.
Okay, yeah. So definitely one of those tight ends is high up on the wish list, as well as Jordan Seaton, of course, being at the top of that list. But I'm going to go ahead and put some of those JUCO kids that were visiting the other week on that list. I wouldn't be surprised if we close with one of these JUCO kids. We need kind of kids that we can plug in right now. It'd be nice in the transfer portal as well to find a safety. I think we're going to be all right with our secondary. Just to piggyback real quick on that secondary thing, I know Boo's highly rated, but I think he's underrated. We'll see where he ends up. He could end up in the slot, but I think there's another kid that's extremely underrated in that class. One Marcus Gorey, a teammate of Boo Carter, an extremely intelligent kid with a knack for the football, plays very fast, very well, jamming the line. Man, I couldn't agree with Coach Rice more. We have let wide receivers run off the line of scrimmage unimpeded and unchecked all season long, and it's allowed offenses at time to get into their rhythm and into their timing. I mean, you take that past Georgia game, we let quite possibly the best football player in America run off that line all game from the tight end position, and we never as much as chipped him, and it would have made a difference on some of those plays to chip him. And some of those plays were big plays early in the game that kept big third downs going. Even that big post play Georgia had to their wide receiver, I think on the second drive, on their first touchdown drive after the field goal. That's the kind of play where if you would have chipped him, Pierce had a great rush on. He got there quick. He just needed another, half second, and he would have been home. Man, those are the inches you need. So you definitely want that. But I want safeties and I want tight ends. We'll see what the kid in the current class can do at the tight end position. What's Jonathan Eccles? I'm going to die on that hill that he'd make a better edge rusher than a tight end. But he's an extremely athletic, big kid. And you look at what we already got going on at tight end that are young. That could end up being a very, very special group for us as well. They just got a little bit of coming along to do. I think Bennett Warren, of course, could be special in the class, as well as Marcus Gorey. I think he's got elite tackle length. And I've said on this channel before, if we are able to get Jordan Seaton, I could see a very dominant left and right tackle from Bennett and Jordan Seaton. And then, of course, we could get some maulers underneath. But safeties, tight ends, Boogie is where I'm putting our priorities as of right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on I think the tight end position is a huge, huge need, and it's going to have to be portal too. Obviously, you mentioned Roger Saliapaga, Ponga, however you want to say it. He's got a good relationship with Nico. That's kind of the wild card, the ace up the sleeve. I know you mentioned the On3 recruiting prediction machine. It's like all Oregon, and they are the favorite. But VolQuest acts like Tennessee is very much in it and gave Roger Saliaponga something to think about when he goes home to make his decision. This is the other kid you mentioned, Michael Smith, 4-star tight end. He is the teammate with Jake Merklinger. He's currently committed to South Carolina, but again, Matt Ray, I was listening to his Trill Tidbits, and he basically said, this kid doesn't want to end up at South Carolina. Like, you're committed to him, and he doesn't want to end up there. But it's Tennessee and Auburn. Now, he was supposed to be here for the Georgia game and didn't make it in, so we'll see how much of a factor that plays into it. But, some of the names you mentioned, Coach, when you look at the tight end room for next year, for 2024, Ethan Davis, he's going to be what? Did he play in enough games? He'll be
redshirted.
He'll be redshirted.
So you got a redshirt freshman, 2 redshirt freshmen, because you also got Emmanuel Okoye. You got Charlie Browder, who I think is probably a walk-on. And then you're going to have Jonathan Eccles as a true freshman. You're going to have to hit the portal. Have to. Because I think, Emmanuel Okoye, Coach Rice, you can talk about what you think about him. I think when you've got an edge guy, you have more of an opportunity to go out there and, hey, get in there on third down and go get after the quarterback. But for this kid that's only been playing football for a couple of years, I don't see him contributing much as even a redshirt freshman next year. You're going to have to hit the portal at tight end.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to maybe one or maybe even two, depending on how much faith you have. I mean, Ethan Davis is a stud. I think he's going to be a real good tight end for us. But just for depth purposes, though, we've seen how quickly injuries could change a team. So I think you could see maybe even 2 guys you go get in the portal at the tight end position. One that you're wanting to really come in and contribute, and then one maybe that could just be a depth piece. But I know with portal guys, you want to make sure they come in and be ready to play. But that tight end position, with how small it's going to be, the depth, the room altogether, that may be something where they just take a shot. But like Coach Jay said, the safety position, that's going to be another position that you just don't have much depth at right now. So with the recruits and then maybe getting a couple guys in the portal. But going back to what you were asking me, Emmanuel Okoye is super raw, athletic. One of these guys that you want to come off the bus first. That he's just everything as far as physical specimen that you want in a tight end or an edge guy. He's like the prime, got the height, got the weight, just someone that you like to see be able to contribute. So what's the quickest way he could contribute? I think it's like you said, the edge. I think are we loaded at that group? Yes, but he may bring something that we haven't seen. So, I think that's a chance you got to take on, especially if you go get a couple guys in the portal, and maybe flip him over. Like we talked about, he's raw. He came from the NFL Academy over in London. He's very new to the game. He maybe played for, not even really played. He's maybe just been into the game for 2 or 3 years altogether, and that's his whole life. Because I think he was a soccer player or something before, and he's just not been in the game much. So he's a raw prospect. He's got tons of capability. It's just what can he do with that capability? What type of development can we do with that capability? And where does he end up moving forward? I think there's a couple guys on this roster that we could see maybe flip to different positions after this year.
Yeah, and I think Okoye too. Talk about being multiple. Look at what Princeton Fant did for this offense last year, because he could really play wide receiver and he could block at an extremely high level. Okoye has the ability to be an elite blocker on the outside and also play wide receiver at a high tick. So if you can put Okoye out on the edge and he's blocking like a left tackle out there and he can catch the ball, you're talking about something really, really dangerous, guys. But it's going to be really a matter, like Coach Rice was saying, do you have to flip him over to D and kind of make it a little simpler for him, or will the light bulb come on for him? That's just going to be a matter of how quickly he can put it all together on the practice field. But we'll find out. I tend to think he's one more year away. If he is to end up on the offensive side of the ball, but I think you'll find out this season as well. Like, do they flip him to defense this year and give him some run there? Or do they feel like, hey, he's starting to figure it out. He just needs just a little bit more time to develop. But a kid who has a chance to be really, really special in Josh Heupel's offense.
Yeah. Also, plus, like Coach Rice mentioned, the level of talent at the edge. Yeah. And then you look over that tight end room and it's just empty. So if it's a close thing, like it's a toss-up, is he going to be better at tight end or at the edge? You need help in that tight end room. Let me hit some super chats real quick. We're gonna wrap up recruiting, but I do want to hit the class of 25 just briefly because we're gonna be transitioning to that. Then we're gonna make our final predictions for this Tennessee Vanderbilt game. Brian Stedman drops a $2 super chat. Says Dorothy, good morning everyone. What's up, Brian? Good to see you in the chat. Timothy McGee for 2 says get a fullback. Timothy needs to come watch NCAA Knots on Tuesday. You'll see all the fullback you could possibly handle in my high octane offense on Tuesday nights. Scotty Hurley for 5 says an all-day signing day live stream with y'all sounds like something I'm calling off work for. Need to close strong as this class is very, very good. Something I've told Coach Jay about before. I wanted to do that. Like I wanted to do that when I was working for the man full time and never could do it. But now signing day is not as exciting as it used to be. No. Like nothing happened last year. Now 2 years ago there was some movement, there was some excitement on the early signing day. If there is a potential, if there's an opportunity, if there is several guys that we're tracking, then maybe. But I think Jordan Seaton might be the only one, so I will probably have a video locked and loaded and ready to go. But I'm 100% down for that, and I don't expect anybody to say, I'm going to get on and stream with you for 6 hours, Boogie. But I'll be on here, and I'll do it. If guys want to rotate on and hang out, we'll see. But it has to be the right opportunity. Timothy drops another $5, says, be more creative with the running game, multiple looks. Wesley Williams for 5 says, go Vols. Thank you, Wesley. Appreciate that super chat. Joe Brown for 2 says, happy Thanksgiving. Go Vols. Kick Candy's ass. Well, that's going to happen, and we're going to get into that in just a second. All right. We got to be brief on this one. Class of 25. Everybody gets one guy, and I'm going to let you guys choose whoever you want. Tell me why you like this prospect. Tell me where you think Tennessee's at in the recruitment. Give me a little something. Coach Jay, you get to go first. You pick anybody in the class of 25. Yeah, I'm letting him steal it, Coach Rice. I'll let you go second. Don't worry. Who's your go-to? Who do you want to talk about, Coach Jay? And let's see if I've got their profile ready to go.
You probably don't have their profile ready to go. I'm sorry, man, but I'm gonna take Elijah Griffin out of the state of Georgia. I don't know if you're familiar with his game at all. Defensive lineman, big, physical, tough kid, meets all the criteria of what we want. I believe he's like 6'6", 6'5", something like that. Moves extremely quickly, and I know we're not in the race yet, but guys, there's many a slip between the cup and the lip in recruiting, and this is a kid to where I know, he kind of likes South Carolina, but they've fallen off a lot for him. Clemson was in there early as like a freshman with him. They've dropped off from him, and I think he's kind of looking for that other school to consider with Georgia. I think we get a good year with Nico under our shoulders, and you could see a slide in there with this kid. Big, strong, fast, physical kid, elite. This kid will play on Sundays, and he'll make pro balls, in Coach Jay's opinion. So if you're giving me a magic wish list token here, and I can put it in the machine and pop out a recruit, I'm taking Elijah Griffin. Absolute beast.
Just for perspective, Nico's on-3 industry rating grade is a 99.01. Elijah Griffin, 98.78. So absolute stud.
Yep.
Let's see. Rivals has him as the #1 player in the country.
Oh,
On
really?
Three
I didn't know that.
Industry has him as #2. On 3, #2. 247 Sports, #3. I refuse to mention ESPN. Somebody sent me the thing about Jordan Seaton and ESPN. I'm like, man, I could do a better job covering recruiting than the guys at ESPN do. It's an absolute joke. Yeah. Oh, man, Coach J pulled out a wild card there. I like it. Coach Rice,
that caught me off guard.
Wide open. You can go anywhere you want to go.
There you go.
Which I do like that. I do like that play there because, I mean, Elijah, he's a, line of scrimmage changer. Like he makes an instant impact.
Game record.
And so I'm going to go the opposite side. I'm going to go David Sanders. I mean, that dude, that's the difference in SEC. He is a dude in SEC play. We talk about it all the time. It's a line of scrimmage league. You just imagine Jordan Seaton.
We got to get better.
I'm imagining.
He's back.
He wants us to imagine.
Just imagine.
So imagine David Sanders, Bennett Warren, and Jordan Seaton as your options at tackle. I mean, those are maulers, like guys that if you're trying to bend the edge and, push down one side of the defensive line, those are the type of guys that you want on this roster. And this dude is fast on his feet. He stays low. He's a Jordan Seaton type dude as far as just bullying guys. Like it plays through, like you talking about guys playing all the way through the whistle. He's one of these guys. He just does not leave anything on the field. He leaves everything on the field and, just crushes the souls of these defensive linemen. And he's one of these guys that I would love seeing in orange and white.
I feel like you guys are going to make me talk about this guy. I was making y'all go first so I didn't have to. Oh, my gosh. I'll talk about him because I think, especially for people that aren't really following recruiting, that we're trying to get into this thing, you got to talk about George McIntyre, #1 player in the state of Tennessee, 5-star quarterback. And look, you got to have a quarterback, right? We've seen what 2023 has led us to. You've got to have a quarterback in order to go out and compete in the SEC. George McIntyre, a lot of people talking about Alabama. I think the interesting thing about this is when you talk to national media guys or you listen to the big talking heads, they're talking about Alabama. You listen to the BallQuest guys, you listen to guys like Matt Ray, you listen to guys like Austin Price, they are saying Tennessee very much in this thing. He was in town for the Georgia game. Everybody likes to put so much emphasis on, they got blown out. It's got to be embarrassing. Georgia's response to that was, what was Georgia? Everybody loses to Georgia. Like, he didn't care. He liked the environment. He's been here a ton. Sounds like he's done. He's going to visit LSU this weekend, and he's shutting it down. Said he wasn't doing junior days next year. Nothing. He's going to make a decision January, February top time frame. Tennessee's in this thing, man. Mm-hmm. And I think this is huge because, we go back to last year's film breakdowns. We're talking about George McIntyre and Deuce Knight. And which one are you going to get? Are you going to get them both? Now Deuce Knight off to Notre Dame. George McIntyre, you lose him. Where do you go at quarterback, right? You have to start going down the board. And right now, when you look at the roster, you got Nico for 3 years. Hopefully that's it. 3 years off to the NFL. You got Jake Merklinger, who's a competitor. I love his fire. I love the fact that he doesn't care that Nico's here. He's coming here to compete. In his mind, he's going to be the starting quarterback as a true freshman. He doesn't care. He's coming here to compete. You add George McIntyre into that mix, man, that's a nasty quarterback room. We're going to be talking class of 25 moving forward. So we want you guys to have an eye on some of these names. Go ahead, Coach Ross.
Do you think, Coach Jay or Boogie, what you think Madden, if George ends up choosing Alabama, do you think Madden, Nico's brother, would be our guy that we kind of lean on? I know he's not as highly rated, but I mean, I think with him that the skill is still there. I know he's 4-star. I would like to see him come to Tennessee, even if we get one of those guys. But
isn't he having a ridiculous junior year right now?
He's killing it.
Coach Jay, you're the man to answer this question.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's scary how similar he is to Nico. Now their game does differ some. Certainly, every player always stands on their own. But as far as like physical attributes, he's got a lot of the same physical attributes that Nico has. Very live arm, can throw the ball anywhere on the field. He reads the pocket well. He can escape pressure really well. I actually would dare say he might be a touch faster than Nico, and Nico is faster than he looks, and a lot of you have probably started to see that already. But Madden's just a little quicker than Nico in the short burst. I hesitate to say he doesn't read the field as well, or that he's not as high as IQ, because I saw a lot more of Nico a little further down his line than Madden was. So I feel like I'm not comparing necessarily apples to apples. I need to take a little bit closer look of his most recent stuff. But I'll tell you this, that is an extremely close football family. And I think Madden would jump at the chance to be on the same program at Nico if it made sense. And so if George doesn't come, then Madden is certainly a capable kid. And I mean, you see his list. SMU is developing quarterbacks at a high level right now and paying a lot of NIL money too. I might say again, that's some of that old Southern Methodist money that they had back when they got the death penalty. Don't be surprised if you see that program start to emerge later down the line. Of course, we know what Texas Christian has done at the quarterback position, and I know there's a lot of interested Pac-12 teams or former Pac-12 teams, I guess we could start to say now, that are interested in Madden. But another good kid. From a great family.
I think to say he's just outside the top 200.
Yeah,
overall,
he's a baller.
And now all of a sudden, that's not good enough, and that's a good problem to have. Go ahead, Coach Ross.
Well, I think, and with SMU you brought up, they're going to be in the ACC starting in 2025. Is that right? That they'll be in the ACC. Ain't they going them with the other Pac-12 schools? Yep. So, I mean, they'll be in a Power 5 conference. So, I think with George McIntyre, I think he's going to come off the board in January, maybe early February. I'm hoping January. That way, Tennessee can go ahead. If he doesn't choose Tennessee, go ahead and fill the playing field as far as what else they can go for. George McIntyre is without a doubt our main priority at quarterback, but I think I would love to see Madden come and be on the same roster with Nico. I think that would be a good, I hate to say second option for high school guys because that's just, but it is what it is. I mean, if George ends up choosing Alabama, I'd love to see us go get Madden.
Yeah, and remember, Bama is kind of in that same boat with us. They have another Southern California quarterback in Julian Sayin that's sitting there, a 5-star kid, good-looking kid. And I'll tell you what, you want to have yourself a fun little afternoon. Go watch some of the 7-on-7 tournaments between Nico and Julian Sayin. Those kids were slinging the pill around, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
this is why the three of us are going to be talking recruiting all offseason. A bunch of freaking dorks. If you've got nothing else to do on your Friday afternoon, go watch some old 7-on-7. Coach Jay, I made it. He was breaking down film for one of the videos we were going to do, and this dork goes and watched the entire game. From one clip that he saw, he watches an entire high school game. That's why we're going to be covering recruiting all offseason. Hank drops another $5. Says, I think we'll get Madden and Nico will start longer than y'all think and let his brother play under him for a year and then go to the NFL. Thank you for the $5, Hank. We appreciate the support, brother. Guys, we got 217 people still watching live. We are going to take one last look at this Vanderbilt game. It's Vanderbilt. That's why we've talked for an hour and 3 minutes about recruiting, about 2024 and the transfer portal. But we do have one more football game coming up this regular season tomorrow, 3:30 kickoff. We'll be live an hour before that for the tailgate show, and then immediately following the game. I've already given my prediction on Friday. or on Wednesday, so I'm not going to say too much. You guys can take it and run with it. Coach Jay, what do you see in this matchup? Tennessee favored by almost 4 touchdowns. ESPN FPI at 95%. Vanderbilt's lost 9 games in a row. They're not very good. What do you see happening on Saturday?
Yeah, I think Tennessee should feast and kind of get right and let out some of their anger on this team. It's senior day, and I heard Kaner say it, so I think it's important to echo again for those of y'all who didn't catch it. Don't overreact when you see all the seniors go through senior day. They will make their decision whether they're staying or going after that decision was made already for all of them. So it doesn't really necessarily mean that they're not coming back if they go through senior day. With that said, echoing another sentiment, guys, I've been right on that cultivate train for a long, long time, right? For those of you going to the stadium, let's give Joe a standing ovation. Let's clap him up. He came up short in my eyes, but he gave his all for Tennessee. It's not been for lack of effort or lack of love for this team or lack of locker room leadership. Let's make sure we're there supporting these young men, certainly in their last game. One thing I want to touch on really quick, because I heard you guys saying it on the Wednesday show, and it's kind of tied to this. Which senior, are you thankful for? Kind of on that same topic, I'm going to take Kamal Haddon, because it was a kid who just kept grinding and kept working at Tennessee and got better, even got booed, didn't let that affect him, came out, made plays, affected the line of scrimmage, affected the pass plays. Still pissed off for that Florida tackle, and I never will not be. But I'm thankful for the work that Kamal Haddon put in at the end of that year. I think Tennessee obviously covers in this game and has a bang-up day, and I think the seniors feast, and they let them feast. I think you're going to see Jalen Wright get to that magical 1,000-yard number early in this game, and hopefully we get some scripted stuff for the young guys. We need to see these young linemen a little bit, the ones who can play, maybe Reddick, Lang, and hopefully some of this young secondary as well is what I'd like to see. But I see the Vols covering this weekend, no doubt about it.
Is Coach Rice frozen?
No, I don't think so. Or is he? Is he deep in thought?
Oh, no, he's back. He
smiled. He smiled.
I was going to say he's pondering. He's pondering his prediction.
Well, yeah, it was. It went out for a second. My prediction is going to be a boat, and I told you that. I sent a super chat on. Tennessee will blow that. So that's not part of the. Not being bold part. We all know Tennessee should blow out Vanderbilt. My bold prediction is that Nico will throw for over 200 yards.
Sign me up.
Nico will throw for over 200 yards on 10 attempted passes. 10 attempted passes, he will throw for over 200 yards. Yes. And I think Joe he'll start. I think he'll play the first four, I'd say 4 series. And then they're going to give Nico some run. And then we're going to see a real quarterback. And I hate saying that about Joe, because I've loved everything he's given to this program, everything he's done for this program. And yes, like Coach Jay said, he needs his standing ovation. He needs no boos when his name's announced. We're better than that, Tennessee fans. We need to show him his love, because, yes, he stuck around when 95% of quarterbacks would get in the portal in the situation he was in. 95% of the quarterbacks would go down and play at some, JUCO school, and then come back and play this last year at another beach school. That's just what he would have been. Most quarterbacks would have the situation they would have been in. But am I back?
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
My internet thing popped up.
You're good.
But Tennessee will blow Vanderbilt out. I think they better start quickly, because I don't want Vanderbilt to have any shot. But I don't think they're going to show up to this game. At Vanderbilt, what's Vanderbilt got to play for? They're 2-9. They just came off a Thanksgiving break. There's no one on campus this week, for practice. They're having to come back and play this last game. It's at Tennessee. I mean, what does Vanderbilt got to get themselves up for? To come out and actually put a fight together. I just don't see that happening. I know some people can say the same thing for Tennessee, but it's senior day. If you respect that power T on the side of your helmet and you're a senior, you better bring everything. And going off of what Coach Jay said, as far as seniors that you're thankful for, mine without a doubt is Cooper Mays. I mean, it's not even close. And he's one of these guys that, yes, I'm hoping he's going to go through the power T line as a senior. But if depending on what gets thrown at him as far as a NFL grade and NIL money, I think is what we're talking about later in the offseason if he decides to come back or not. So, but yeah, Cooper Mays, perfect example of a Tennessee Volunteer, the way he plays his football game, the way he shows up on every Saturday and grinds for his brothers. So that's my guy. But my prediction, as far as game prediction, is Tennessee 53, Tennessee 53, Vanderbilt 17.
That's about right, yeah.
Let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have the Coach Rice Challenge. We're going to have the Coach Rice Challenge on Saturday. If Nico throws for 200 yards, we'll give away a free Cultivate T-shirt on the post-game show Saturday. Don't let me forget. You guys know how I forget everything. I've still got to update Arkansas Vols player on NCAA night because I completely forgot. He's like, Boogie, you want to upgrade my player now because 3 games have gone by and you haven't done it. It's like, yeah, I got that noted. I'm a horrible person. 200 yards from Nico. We'll give away a Cultivate shirt. If you don't want to wait, you want to get in where you fit in, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. That link is in the description below. You can get a hoodie. You can get a long sleeve t-shirt, all kinds of styles and designs for the Cult of 8 shirt there. Also, all the other favorites are there as well. But if not, smash the thumbs up because that's quick, free, and easy. Leave us a comment. Let's talk some Tennessee football if you're catching this on the rewatch. Don't forget tomorrow morning video coming bright and early. Probably going to put out a recruiting video here within the next couple of hours, so be on the lookout for that. And then tailgate show an hour before kick, post-game show immediately after the game. Come celebrate a win over Vanderbilt because that's what we're going to be doing. We are going to wrap it up for Coach Jay, for Coach Rice. I'm not a coach, but my name's Boogie Bentley, and this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we charge.